Imagine this. Millions of people rise up for freedom, and then one morning, the world goes silent. The sound of screams is replaced by the rumble of tank tracks. This video tells the story of a truth that China has tried to erase from its history, and because of that, it may not even be allowed to be seen in some places. Some truths are still too dangerous to speak out loud. In the late 1980s, China was at a breaking point. After Mao's death, Deng Xiaoping introduced economic reforms, but political freedom remained a distant dream. The country was opening up to capitalism, but the government still held tight control. Young people, especially university students, were the most affected. They were educated, informed, aware of the outside world, but powerless in their own land. On one hand, China was displaying a modern, Western-facing image. On the other hand, it was crushing dissent at home. The contradiction became impossible to ignore. On April 15, 1989, a reformist leader named Hu Yaobang died. He was admired by the youth, seen as a symbol of hope. His death triggered an outpouring of grief that quickly turned into a call for change. At first, it was mourning. Flowers were laid in Tiananmen Square, but those flowers turned into banners. Soon, the chants began. Demands for an end to corruption, for press freedom, for democratic rights. The square became the heart of something bigger than anyone expected. Tens of thousands filled the square. The protests were no longer just a student movement. Workers, teachers, even civil servants joined the crowd. Everyone had something to say. Everyone had something to lose. In the center of it all stood the goddess of democracy, a massive statue built by students, placed directly across from Mao's portrait. That wasn't just art. It was defiance. This wasn't just about policies anymore. It was about dignity, identity, and power. And the government began to grow uneasy. Days passed, then weeks. The students didn't leave. In fact, they began hunger strikes. Foreign media arrived. Cameras rolled. The whole world watched Tiananmen. But authoritarian regimes often follow a pattern. They wait, they threaten, and then they strike. On the night of June 3rd, everything changed. The military entered Beijing. Tanks rolled in. Phone lines were cut. Darkness fell over the city, figuratively and literally. Some protesters left, others stayed. Leaving meant giving up on what they believed in. At first, there was tear gas, then gunfire, then silence. A silence that covered the screams, the chaos, the blood. The morning of June 4th wasn't a morning. It was a nightmare. Tents were crushed by tanks. Bodies were torn apart by bullets. Many eyewitnesses describe soldiers shooting fleeing civilians. Others say corpses were burned or secretly buried. Families were never notified. Some never even found the bodies of their children. And in a matter of hours, the state tried to erase what had happened. But one image escaped censorship. A lone man in a white shirt standing in front of a column of tanks, shopping bags in hand, refusing to move. He shifts left, the tank follows. He moves right, the tank stops. No one knows who he is. He vanished. No name, no trace. That image became a symbol not just of Tiananmen, but of what it means to stand for something, even alone. Ask a teenager in China today if they've seen the Tank Man. Many won't recognize him. That's because they're not allowed to. The internet is censored. History books are silent. The word Tiananmen is practically forbidden. A nation that forgets its past raises children with no memory of resistance. And that may be the most tragic outcome of all, growing up without knowing what was lost. After the massacre, there was outrage, sanctions, strong words. But time passed, trade resumed, and slowly, one by one, countries stopped mentioning Tiananmen. Business came first. Today, many of the companies profiting in China don't dare speak of 1989. It's more convenient to forget. But the legacy of Tiananmen didn't vanish. You can still see its shadow in the protests of Hong Kong, in the surveillance of social media, in the treatment of minorities like the Uyghurs. This is the modern face of authoritarianism. Less blood, more silence. Still, the voices of those students echo quietly through history. Their dreams weren't crushed completely. They were buried deep, but not forgotten. On that day in 1989, freedom wasn't just an idea. It was a banner in their hands, a song on their lips. They were silenced, but we can still speak. And that's why this video exists, to remember and to refuse to forget. If this story moved you, leave a comment, share the video, let others know what was almost erased from history. Subscribe for more stories that deserve to be told.